Though it may look more like a flying saucer than a ship, this polar station promises to allow scientists to study the Arctic in a way that hasn't been possible before.
The central Arctic is warming 4 times faster than anywhere else on our planet, and yet we don't really have satellites that cover the higher Arctic. The ice cap is unstable because of climate change. It's not as thick as it used to be, and so you can't just build an ice camp on top of it and drift with it as the Russians and the Canadians did in the past. So the idea of the Tara Foundation was to think about building a vessel that could be deployed in the Central Arctic over multiple years over the coming decades.
Enter the Tara Polar Station.
The current design of the polar station, it doesn't look like a ship at all. It looks more like a flying saucer. It's not round, but it's sort of lozenge shaped, and that is the optimal design. Each drift will take, we estimate, about 1.5 years. We will perform a series of drifts over the coming 25 years to basically tell the story of how the Central Arctic is changing.
To allow scientists to comfortably live in and study the Arctic, the interior of the Tara Polar Station is just as important as its exterior design.
We have 4 decks inside, and we have 12 cabins. Each of those cabins can double up to have 2 people per cabin, so we can have up to 24 people on board if we want. The general idea is to limit to 1 person per cabin, at least during the winter months, because we appreciate that we need to give privacy to the people on board. It's about 200 square meters of living space, including a mess, a kitchen, office space, cabins, and so on.
And around a third of the station, or 120 square meters, will consist of labs.
So one innovation of this lab area that we have on board the ship is that we have a moon pool. It's a hole in the floor, and this gives direct access to the under-ice environment. The general idea of having this moon pool inside the boat is that we can deploy equipment through it. We can deploy scientific equipment that can go under the ice and take measurements, take samples, and see what is happening in the water column below. We also have a dedicated lab where we will be working with ice cores. So we will also go outside of the vessel and do some ice coring. And then we also have specialized laboratories for doing scientific assays like DNA sequencing, like microscopes that we have on board, and all kinds of other scientific equipment where we can measure and observe what the planktonic organisms are doing in the samples that we collect.
The planktonic organisms Chris just mentioned are what scientists suspect drives the climate ecosystem in the Arctic.
There is a general feeling that a lot of the climate system in the Arctic is really regulated to a large extent by the biology that is present in the Arctic. So when you think of, the ice-covered North Pole, you might ask, well, where is the life? You don't see life, right? You don't see forests and things, but actually there's a lot of life both in the water underneath the ice and also at the base of the ice.
At the base of the ice, there is a layer of different photosynthetic organisms called that because they generate energy and food for the rest of the ecosystem, from small organisms all the way up to seals, walruses, and polar bears.
There's a general understanding that these organisms, these plankton, these algae, they generate gases that are active, that interact with the climate. Some of them will nucleate clouds. They stimulate the formation of clouds. And so from clouds, you then get precipitation, be it rain, be it snow. There are other gases which interact with ice, which interact with water. They prevent the formation of ice, or they promote the formation of ice. This is what we need to understand much more.
Before its first mission, Tara still needs to undergo some tests. It was first tested in the sea in Brittany, France in April 2024, and it's currently encountering ice near the Arctic Circle for the first time, together with a German icebreaker, which is helping the vessel's deployment. After a few months of testing there, Tara will be returned to France to undergo any necessary adjustments before it can be sent to its first scientific mission.
So we'll begin late August 2026 with the first team of scientists on board, who we expect will be on board for the first mission being about 1.5 years. So being deployed sort of between Norway and Russia, and then drifting over to the Greenland side over 1.5 years, something like that. And that will be the first transpolar drift, which we will then repeat at least 10 times over the next 25 years to observe what is happening year by year, what is happening through the seasons.
Scientists have long predicted that by 2050, the Arctic may see ice-free summers. But some studies are now warning that this could become a reality before the end of this decade.
It's going to be very important to witness those changes and very important to understand this system better, and also to learn, what an ice-free Arctic will look like during the summer months in 25 years' time. So there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of pollution. There are chemical pollutants in the atmosphere, in the ice. There's black carbon sitting on top of the ice, which is changing the color of the ice and influencing melting of the ice. So there are multiple aspects that we need to follow in the next quarter century to learn how this system works and what we risk to lose if it really disappears.
As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, keep an eye for our upcoming video in which we get an exclusive look at an underwater habitat that will be deployed to study the ocean.